Hey everyone, it's Tami LaTrell here. I wanted to chime in on the recent DOJ ruling that I discussed briefly on my Facebook page. There was a recent ruling that declined our P.R.Os, ASCAP, BMI, and SESAC, from being able to negotiate with streaming services like Spotify and Pandora. You guys have heard me talk about this several times, about how outdated the laws were. And I think the consent decree, it was like created in 1941 and still has not been able to be updated. And with that being said, since it hasn't been updated, the law is modernized for digital streaming. So therefore, Spotify and Pandora and all these other streaming companies can continue to pay us what they want to pay us and not have our P.R.Os who work on our behalf to go and actually negotiate fees that are fair for them to play and stream our music. So I'll be honest with you, this DOJ ruling to me is disappointing in some ways, but more so, I think the P.R.Os were more upset than songwriters, mainly because, the P.R.Os support themselves off of fees that they get from licenses that they negotiate on our behalf. And not just being able to negotiate with Pandora and Spotify, but even when our songs are picked up on commercials as well as movies, webisodes, anything that's dealing with using our material in someone else's work, is they have to have a license for that. And when you don't have the right to negotiate on your writers or producers' behalf, or if it's not fairly done for you, then it causes a lot of confusion. And with that, I think because that's how they support themselves and how they make money is off of those licenses that they negotiate on our behalf. I think that is probably what affects them the most. So in one way, I agree that it is frustrating, but after doing some research on this ruling, I honestly think that it is beneficial to some songwriters. And I'm going to tell you why. With this being denied by the Department of Justice, what it tells us is that they are not down, they're not okay with several licenses being negotiated for one work. So I'll give you an example. I write a song with a writer and a producer. The producer and I are both with ASCAP, but the writer is with BMI. The song gets picked up, it's playing on radio, and it becomes a huge success, and now people want to use the song in a commercial. It was, maybe chosen to be in a sitcom or a movie or whatever. When they actually contact our P.R.Os to negotiate, currently we have fractionalized licensing. And what that means is if I own 25% of that song that I wrote and the other writer owns 25%, ASCAP is going to negotiate the license on my behalf of that 25%. The writer that's with BMI, his performing rights organization, BMI, is going to negotiate his 25%. And so what happens is you have all of these licenses being negotiated, and every P.R.O. gets a fee out of their writer's license. But it's only for that amount of 25%. I don't know, is it that, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know, is it that the fact that they don't want several licenses on one work, they just want one license? Because now they've ruled it to where it's 100% of the song can be licensed by one P.R.O., not several. So therefore now the law has changed, and ASCAP can now license 100% of a song without having to contact BMI to say, hey, you need to negotiate your writer's portion. And, it puts the P.R.O. at it puts a lot of weight on them, because now they're entitled to make sure that the BMI writer gets paid off of that license that they negotiated. They don't want to do that. It's like doing somebody else's job. It's like, okay, so we want to license this song to this network, but why do we have to license on behalf of another writer that's not even a member of ours? Well, as a songwriter, I'm like, hey, go ahead and take the license, negotiate, and if you can get something that's fair, go ahead and negotiate, and so we don't have to wait for the writer. Because what if the writer doesn't approve to have the song licensed? And that has happened. I've had some songs licensed, and even when we reached out to some of the producers, depending on who they're signed with and what they're currently dealing with, they may or may not get back with you, and you can lose an opportunity of having money in your pocket, a fee being paid to you, because maybe this other songwriter or producer hasn't got back in time, or maybe the song can't be licensed because only 25% of it is being negotiated. And so it just I kind of like the fact that if someone calls and contacts me about a song, my publisher doesn't have to wait on BMI to approve what their writer wrote. Instead, it can just be approved 100%, and whoever owns for whatever portion they wrote will get a notification, and they should have their publisher information, because every publisher has their information listed public, and you can just make sure that they get what they're owed. If they own 25% of that, then 25% of the licensing fee goes to them. So I kind of feel like I'm kind of in between. I'm kind of mad. Well, I'm definitely pissed off at the fact that we have no rights. Our P.R.Os have no rights to negotiate for streaming. Because as we know, streaming is kicking butt right now. That is literally how everyone is listening to music and digesting their music. They're consuming music on streaming. They're not going out physically and purchasing. They're not going directly to iTunes and downloading all the time. They're setting up their accounts with Tidal and Spotify and Pandora. They're paying their one-time fee every month. And you know what? They're listening to all kinds of music. And if you're a songwriter, they probably listening to your music just like they listening to mine. So I'm pissed off, I ain't gonna lie, on that, because I think it's unfair. The laws are terribly old. Y'all can see my past videos where I talked about the Songwriter Equity Act, and I kind of go into detail about how old the laws were. But even this consent decree, it was established in 1941. We are in 2016. Why can't it be updated? It only makes sense. Just like old publishing deals. You have an old publishing deal that was done back in the day when there were a lot of mechanical royalties coming from physical album sales. Well, we don't have physical album sales anymore. We have a lot of digital album sales. So shouldn't a contract be negotiated for that and not based off of an older music system? We're on a new music platform. We're on a new music system. The whole climate has changed. How we consume music has changed. And so, like I said, I do think that it's unfair that they declined that ruling. And, our P.R.Os who work on our behalf have no right to negotiate with Pandora and Spotify, because these monsters are making billions and billions of dollars. Look it up. Like, it's just crazy how much money they're making compared to what they're paying the producers and songwriters. But on the other hand, when it comes down to 100% licensing of a song, I do feel that I don't want to have to wait for another writer to get back with, or another writer's publisher to get back with my publisher on whether or not the song, can be licensed to be in a commercial. I don't want to miss the opportunity, to have my song picked up. I've had my songs picked up on Love and Hip Hop, WeTV's SWV, their reality series that they had, as well as been on MTV on a show. I can't remember the name of the show, but they used the song I wrote for Keisha Cole on their show, and it also was picked up on Entertainment Tonight. So I've had my songs picked up on different networks, and I kind of like the fact that that my publisher doesn't have to get approval. Now, some people will also say that, well, now whoever is shopping the license can go to BMI, and if BMI charges a cheaper fee than ASCAP, maybe they'll go with BMI. But, at the end of the day, you guys are making money regardless, because whether it's a cheaper fee or not, ASCAP is still going to get their fee, and BMI is still going to get their fee because they represent the writer. And we are the ones that have the last and final say on the license that's being used. They contact you as the writer first to say, hey, this person wants to use your song in this clip. This is how much they want. Do you want the song? Yes or no? You know, do you want them to use the song? Do you want to allow them to use the song? If it's a great opportunity, I'm not going to turn it down. And then I wouldn't want to limit myself, and I wouldn't want another writer to limit my opportunity because they don't want to approve it, and we can't license the song because they own 25% or whatever. It could even be the producer that doesn't want to do it. But I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of on the P.R.O. side, but because I am a songwriter at heart, this is what I do. Creating is, you know, everything for me. I understand, and I do think that it makes sense to have 100% being able to be licensed without having, you know, to, you know, deal with other publishers. So, you know, I'm with ASCAP. ASCAP may not agree, but hey, it is what it is. You know, if it wasn't for the songwriters, ASCAP, BMI, or SESAC wouldn't have anything to negotiate or license to even make money from. So it's like, hey, you help me, I help you. And hopefully, if you guys are not a part of the Stand with Songwriters Equity Act and the standwithsongwriters.org movement, you need to be a part of it so you can stay in the loop about what's going on, because things are just really changing and it's really odd. And if you're trying to get in this business, or if you're already in the business, I think it's very vital that you digest this information, really, really understand, because this is how a lot of us eat. This is how a lot of us support our families. And you need to know what's going on with your money. So with that being said, I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts on it, because when it first came out, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. You know, we can't even negotiate with Pandora and Spotify. I've been talking about this. This is old. I talked about this in, I think, 2013, 2014. And it still got denied. We still can't do it. We can't. And it's really, 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 really messed up. But there are some benefits from a songwriter standpoint when it comes down to licenses that that are able to be benefits for us. But it's just all about how you look at it. So if you guys have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. Make sure you do a lot of research and, you know, come back to me with your opinions, because it surely is affecting all of us, both the streaming as well as being able to license your songs. All right. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure you log on to TamiLaTrell.com and check out my recent blog posts. I also wanted you guys to make sure you follow me on Instagram, Tami LaTrell, Twitter, Tami LaTrell, and you can always ask me a question at TamiLaTrell.com. I only answer one question free, but I also do songwriting consultations there. Shout out to fans in Europe and Australia, all over the world that have been contacting me. And I also do song critiques. So you can reach out to me at TamiLaTrell.com, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Writer's Block.